Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Collector's Vault. My name is Mike, and today we're going to be talking about fake cards. This could be fake Pokemon cards, fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards, fake Magic cards, any of them. And personally, I don't really deal with a lot of fakes usually, and I don't keep fakes on me because if a card is fake, I usually just get rid of it. I usually just trash them if they're fake. I'm gonna keep them around briefly, just as like a reference, or to show some of my friends, like, hey, look what I found, and then just chuck it afterwards. But I do want to talk today about just the occurrence of fake cards, like how often they come up, what to look for. Again, I wish I had some examples, but I just don't really keep fake cards around, so I really can't. I can't show you anything right now, but maybe in the future. So, if any of you are aware, there are a lot of fakes. Not just in like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic. Even in the sports card industry, there's a lot of fakes. I think they're the ones that are more easily vulnerable to fakes because they're older, so a lot of people don't really know what to look for. Obviously, if you're an expert with collectibles and cards, and you deal with these cards every single day, like you know what you're looking at. Me personally, I don't deal with sports cards a lot, so if someone were to show me a few months ago, someone was potentially going to sell me a Wayne Gretzky rookie card, and it was the non-Canadian. It was the American version, the Topps version. So not as valuable as the Canadian version. Excuse me, but it was definitely a really nice card. And immediately I told the guy, I have to see some pictures. I can't just technically he sent me the pictures, and I had to refer to the pictures and take them to a professional, or at least take it to someone that I know is more familiar with sports cards, knows what they're looking at. I did some of my own research, and we concluded that it was real. So that's kind of nice, but definitely you have to look out for those fakes. And in the Magic industry, I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that some of those higher end cards they do attempt to be faked. But the issue with old Magic cards is that those old cards were made on a very old form of cardstock. Basically, like the cardboard that they used to print on those cards, it just isn't around anymore, and it's really difficult to replicate it, and if not potentially impossible to replicate it. I'm sure you'll see, like, on some channels like Alpha Investments, with you all know Rudy. Rudy always shows how if you ever look at fake cards, there's the backs are glossy as opposed to that like matte finish that you can kind of see. You can kind of like see the texture on the back of the card, but the fake ones usually are like they look like they're made of like pure plastic, or they have that kind of sheen on them. Obviously, the more modern cards they get like counterfeited and faked. They are made with a more modern cardstock, so obviously it's easier to replicate. And people have said that they've seen modern Magic cards that are just really, like, it's hard to tell the difference. Like, most people can obviously tell the difference, and usually you can tell when you feel the card. Like even by today's standards, like the cards do so have that glossiness in the back, and you can kind of just feel like a difference in thickness, a difference in the bending. And but then again, there are some instances where some people can make it so good that even some of the big guys that know what they're looking at have to get a second opinion because the cards look that good. Pokemon really had an issue, I think. I think they have more of an issue with the more modern cards because Pokemon is still really big, and they're still printing out new cards. And I do come across a lot of those fakes. And usually, what I do, like I said, I don't keep them. I kind of just chuck them out. I just don't buy them, or if I do come across them in bulk, I kind of just throw them out because I know they're worthless. The thing is with Pokemon is it's very similar, that you usually tell that the text on the cards is different, the coloring, the shading is all off, the holograms are never right. See, the thing with Magic is Magic doesn't usually have holograms on their cards or holographics. They do have their foils, but usually they just don't. They don't really make fake foil cards. They just go for the just print the ordinary cards, because those cards are still going to be the rares and the mythics, and they're still worth a lot of money. So if it's like a non-foil version, it's still worth a lot of money, and you mitigate that risk of trying to replicate that foiling, which I'm sure is a lot harder than printing a non-foil card. But for Pokemon cards that usually are identified with how rare they are by a hologram. I mean, Pokemon even has the full art going on. They already have the holographic cards. They have the full arts. They have the hyper rares, the rainbow rares, and that's something that's really difficult to replicate. I mean, I'm pretty sure if people do try to replicate it, they can't really get that feel down because it has like an actual like felty touch to it. And I think even a bit of a difference in rigidity because of that extra layer of foil on it. Another reason is usually just the back of the Pokemon cards. If you if you know Pokemon cards and you see the back of a fake one, you can kind of just tell the coloring's off, the pixels are off, like the resolution's off. It's really hard to get them like that perfect. And even if they can fake it to be that good, if you just turn it over and look at the card and just again just feel the card yourself, you can usually tell that's fake. Magic again doesn't really have the issue because usually majority of the time they'll just print the non like hollow, the non foil cards, and the vintage ones don't have foils. At least not up until a certain point. Vintage Pokemon, I don't really think I ever came across like any like. Well, I mean, I have come across figs in the past, and usually it's bad. Like usually, whenever I've seen like a fake vintage Pokemon card, it's usually pretty bad, and you can just tell immediately like, no, this is obviously fake. And it's funny because you would think that they would try to fake those cards, the vintage ones, like the base set, the Jungle Fossil, especially the base set, or some of the other like high end sets like the of the E series, like Aquapos and Skyridge. Or maybe the sets that have the shiny Pokemon or the Gold Star Pokemon, but no, I really never see those, and it's which is kind of interesting. Again, I have seen a few, but it's so bad that you can just like ignore them. Like you don't have to worry about it. They're just that bad. Yeah, but I have seen one. I think one time I did see a fake shining. I keep saying shining. It was a fake shadowless Charizard, and of course when I saw it in a picture the guy was showing me, it's like something looked off on that Charizard, and I said, well, the as I've mentioned before in my very first video about distinguishing between the base set cards, first edition, shadowless, and unlimited, there was a bit of a difference in shading and coloring. So I thought to myself, well, maybe that's just like the lighting was off. But of course, when I saw it in person, it looked like as if it was like printed off of the guy's computer. Like it just looked so fake, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. This is I hate to break it to you, but I legit think the guy didn't know it was fake, which is kind of surprising because it looked that bad. But whatever. Now, as far as Yu-Gi-Oh cards go, I'll be honest, I've seen a lot of fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but it was always the old style ones, the like the vintage old school Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And the funny thing is, unlike fake Pokemon cards and fake Magic cards are usually like they really do a relatively good job of trying to make the cards like from far away you can kind of tell, wow, that looks pretty good, and then up close if you know what you're looking at you'll realize like, oh no, it's fake. Pokemon was the same way. You definitely but once you get a closer look, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is fake. You can tell by the way it feels. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh, you can definitely tell by the way the cards feel, because like I said, it's kind of hard to replicate that card stock, that thickness, the weight, the bendiness, the rigidity. But the biggest thing with Yu-Gi-Oh is I've never seen a good fake Yu-Gi-Oh card. And I'll be honest, I've never seen a good fake one. I remember when I was little, even back then when I was like, more naive, I still knew the difference between a fake and a real Yu-Gi-Oh card. Because I remember like sometimes like, when I was very little, my dad would take me to flea markets and I would see people trying to sell Yu-Gi-Oh back like, when the game first started. And I saw cards, I'm like, my dad would say, oh, do you want these? And I said, no, Dad, these are not real cards. These look ridiculous. And again, I wish I had an example, but I don't keep fake cards on me. But, like, my God, the Yu-Gi-Oh cards are the worst. I mean, like, and I think the biggest giveaway is not only do the fronts look terrible, but the text is all wrong. I mean, like, it's one thing, it's like the Magic cards and Pokemon cards, they try to replicate what's on that card. But the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I mean, they literally say, okay, well, here's a blurry picture of what of the monster or the card art, and then the text is all wrong. And I'm not saying like, oh, it's a different font. I mean, it's literally the wrong words. Like you can like it'll have like, and this is, I'm not exaggerating. There's one I remember, it was a fake Exodia piece, the head of Exodia, and it didn't say Exodia the Forbidden One. It said like, I'm just gonna make it up, but it sounded something like Dark Master of Ultimate Magic or something on it, like something ridiculous, completely wrong. And then the levels are all wrong, the attack and defense points are all wrong, all the stats are wrong, and the text was all wrong on like where the card effect was. Like I mean, and even the English was a broken English. I mean, it didn't even make sense when you read it. It was just completely ridiculous. Even like the type, like it will say like I think Exodia is a spellcaster type, just like all the monsters and you have different types. And I didn't think it wasn't even like spellcaster. It didn't say like fiend or zombie. Like, oh, it's the wrong type. I think it said something like magic wielder. Like it's just again completely wrong. And I've never seen like an actual like fake Yu-Gi-Oh card where everything on the basically where the front of the card is correct. Like everything's correct. Like as if I've never even seen a Yu-Gi-Oh card which looks like they just took an original card and scanned it and just printed it out. Like I've never seen that before. I can't explain why. I guess people just give up on the Yu-Gi-Oh cards on making fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like maybe they're harder to replicate, which I don't really know why. I mean, they definitely have like a bit of a unique card stock. They're very, very thin. Yu-Gi-Oh cards are very, very thin and are delicate, unlike Magic and Pokemon. Which obviously you can damage Magic and Pokemon, but if you know Magic cards, they have that bending test where like you can actually like take a. Again, I wish I had an example. I don't really have a. I don't want to damage this, but basically like a Magic, you can take like a vintage card, even modern cards, and you can like actually like bend them all the way down. Yeah, I don't want to ruin this card. You can bend it all the way down, and then if you let go, you can just like kind of like flex it. It'll be back to normal. Pokemon, I don't want to take a chance on that. I don't think I've ever tried before, but I know Magic has that. But Yu-Gi-Oh, if you were to bend a card like that, like just like I was doing, bend it all the way down, there's a good chance it's gonna just crease and be destroyed forever. Obviously, fake. That's not a good way to determine like a fake Yu-Gi-Oh card. You just have to know what you're looking at. Obviously, in Yu-Gi-Oh, unlike Magic and Pokemon, if the card just looks completely different, if the actual text and wording is all wrong, and then you know it's fake. But I mean, I have seen people try to like in collections. I've seen like fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and they stand out like a sore thumb. It's really, really bad. I mean, I guess it's good for the collector, that way you don't have to worry about like potentially like buying one or trading for one. I mean, I guess, you know, if you're new to the game and you don't really know what you're looking at, if you're like a parent who's just trying to sell their kids Pokemon cards, which you shouldn't, by the way, don't sell your kids, unless the kid gives you their consent, don't sell them. That's actually really, really messed up. Oh, gosh. Sorry, that was a tangent. But, yeah, like, I really never really seen Yu-Gi-Oh cards that actually... Oh, even the back of the card is kind of funny. Like, you would think, like... Again, this is only in... I've never seen that in Magic and Pokemon, but only in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, everyone knows this is kind of like what the back of a Yu-Gi-Oh card looks like. There's a little swirl within the Konami... the Konami symbol. And down here it says Yu-Gi-Oh! The Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game? Yeah. So... For some reason, Yu-Gi-Oh cards will have this swirling thing correct, but I don't think it'll have Konami in the corner, which is a big giveaway. And then I think this symbol is actually wrong. I think the text is all wrong, and it's like in real big letters. I think it goes like from like halfway across the card, saying like Yu-Gi-Oh right here, all the way across. It's completely wrong. Like in Magic, if you were to turn it over, usually that's like a big indicator. It's like you have to like put the card underneath a magnifying glass to check like to make sure that the coloring of like the five mana colors on the back of a Magic card, you gotta make sure that the shading's correct. Like, I mean, for Yu-Gi-Oh, for some reason, you can tell from a mile away how bad the card is. Pokemon, again, I never really seen people. I mean, the back of the Pokemon card, you usually a pretty big giveaway. Even if you got to look up close, you can kind of tell that's fake. Front of the cards, again, they never properly can copy the holograms and stuff. If it's for a non-holographic card, you just gotta look close and you can tell that it feels differently. And yeah, there's all kind of ways to tell, and there's obviously more videos online of how to distinguish them. I really wish I could give you guys more examples. Again, one day if I can ever come across some fakes, I'll excuse me, I keep burping. I'll come across some fakes and I'll hold on to them, and I'll do a little video of how to distinguish between fake and real. Like I'll hold them side to side, and then we can actually take a closer look. But yeah, I just kind of want to talk about fake cards, and again, just to clarify, when it comes to fake, like that was all for like the non-sports cards, but for sports cards, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's all different kind of ways you can tell that like sports cards are older. So again, old card stock is hard to replicate, but a lot of people just might not know. It's ignorance. They just don't know what they're looking at. If you're good with sports cards and you know what you're looking for, then you should be okay. But like even someone like me, like if I get a card, I'm not going to be foolish and just say, oh, I'll take your word for it. I'll do some research and make sure I know what I'm looking for. And I advise you all to do that, not just for sports cards, but for any basically for you should be doing that for collectibles in general. If you're unsure, just do some research and then you'll you'll cover your ass. All right, but yeah, just wanted to talk about fakes and how to kind of give you an idea of what to look out for. Again, in the future, hopefully we'll do a video actually showing you like side by side how to distinguish between fake cards. And I think that's it for now, guys. Take it easy.